You have a motion on the table. Do I have a second? Support. Open up for discussion at this stage. Do we have any board discussion on the consent agenda? If not, I would like to go ahead and do a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Perfect, that passes. Next on the agenda is public comments, and we have public. This is rare for us here. Yes, please. Introduce yourself and where you live. This is new to us. Yeah.
I'm live. My name is Charlie Millard. I live over in Lansing, Michigan. So I'm one street over from Emmett County, so I may not have much pull over here. But my position in coming here today was just to talk to the board a little bit about the Waters Life Festival, which is going to be held just outside of our windows here in Bayfront Park in the festival shelter area comes September 2nd. And I'm part of the talent acquisition team this year with Michelle Chenard and Samantha Cooper, a couple other musicians from the Mitten. And currently we're putting together what I think is going to be a really fun lineup of music all day, but it's kind of going to be a vast festival that'll fit perfectly in the park. But I'm really excited because it used to be in the Straits up in Mackinac, and we weren't able to do it up there this year. And I'm hoping Petoskey can be its future annual home. But for those of you who don't know, I know John Murphy has spoken to Janan Cornstalk, who is the leader behind like this 5-year running festival. And we've talked and got the place cleared with City Hall here to reserve the space, and as well as work with the city to rent the stage, figuring out putting up tents and speakers and all that stuff that comes with the festival is all the fun details. But yeah, I guess my comments to the board or anything was just almost to make you guys aware that this event is coming into town. We're just putting out our save the dates. We're getting our Instagram rolling, and we're still doing a lot of fundraising and everything. That Waters Life Festival, if it's been from past festivals or if it's from here, is just a lot of grassroots fundraising. And it's all a volunteer run organization headed up by a group of Indigenous women who are traditionally water protectors in the community. And just the event in itself too, it's to celebrate the connection to water and builds power through the community, and working towards a holistic way to protect it from those who seek to exploit or endanger it, and also to celebrate it and educate the public with it. So there'll be a lot of vendors, there'll be a lot of information booths. We're trying to get some conservancies on board to talk to the youth about different things. There'll be a whole youth tent along with all the music that's going all day. So I just kind of coming back around to fundraising too. I'll also be, some of us volunteers will be taking wings to talk to the city and different local businesses to see what they can do, where they can potentially help, or how they might want to be involved in this. It'll be a one-day event, but there's also some other extracurricular activities like the whole Labor Day weekend associated with water, and a lot of people coming up from Detroit and maybe out of state, because this is also Waters Life is going on in Minnesota, and there's a couple other ones around the country, and in Canada, I think too. So it's a pretty cool thing. And yeah, this is my first year being a part of it. So yeah, that's all my public comment is. But if anybody has any questions for me?
Yeah, thank you very much. It goes 10 o'clock.
Yeah, on September 2nd, the music will actually begin at noon and go until 8 or go until sunset, basically, is our thing. And there's some food trucks that'll be, I think, hired to be down there as well. And yeah, lots of signage all weekend.
So Charlie, I have a couple questions. I haven't heard of this event before, even though it's been in Mackinac City.
Yeah, I think it's the last 2 years running. It's been in the Straits.
I've been there both times.
Well, then it must have been phenomenal.
It was. It was really well attended.
So how would you judge the size of the crowd?
I was there last year just for the first few hours we played, but then we had to leave. But yeah, I think there's also some parking, aspects that we want to take. I know you guys really want to go there, but from
Yeah.
people being shuttled from the casino, we've got a little bit of shuttle running. If people need to park their cars up there, that's extra space. But I couldn't really necessarily put a number on it myself, but
50 to 100.
So 50 to 100, but maybe here we would draw more. I
And
don't know.
then there's more, there's people that can go.
How would you just compare it to Festival on the Bay?
A whole different crowd. Totally
Okay.
different crowd.
But music lovers.
For music,
Well, I mean, this is the music festival as well
this
as,
is the laid back, this is not Detroit's festival on
Yeah.
there and giving the ball field,
yeah,
where they brought up jazz bands and all that stuff.
yeah.
That's-
yeah, not quite.
you're not
It's
gonna see that.
it's definitely a music and like performance, I would say, centered, and then but with this core Waters Life Festival being behind it. So they'll also have some speakers come up from some different organizations, one of them being Title Track of Michigan, Holly T. Bird and Seth Bernard, who run that organization, which is like a water protection and racial justice organization. So there'll be like some panels that'll speak. There'll be a bunch of dancers that'll also come from a local nonprofit, The Croft, which is a dance residency program in Horton Bay, to the local ballet studio to do some like grass performance. There'll be some Asian cultural dancers coming from Grand Rapids to do some things. So it's like it's definitely arts centered,
Okay,
but yeah, celebration of.
It's not our-
okay.
not-
And what's your budget what are you trying to, do you know? You're trying to
Our budget,
raise?
I would have to talk to, just being on the talent acquisition team. But again, that's something that we're still working towards because we are still fundraising. We have goals in mind. And we haven't reached them yet. So we're continuing to try and build that.
Thinking,
Yeah.
I would say as you get going, Shane, something can be put, since it's a festival here, people coming, we could somehow put a link on or do something on our website, can we? Yeah, sure. Yep.
Yeah.
So
That'd be amazing.
this is the city manager behind you.
Yeah.
Give my card.
Sure.
Shane Horn.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
There you go.
Yeah.
and Charlie, we can promote it also. It's not in the downtown, but we could do that. We did it for Festival on the Bay. So,
Okay, well, that'd be wonderful. We did become members of the chamber and they've attended, I think, a chamber meeting too downtown.
yeah, so you'll get city, downtown
Yeah.
and chamber. So you'll
Yeah,
get
which
that.
would be awesome because and from my point of view, they kind of brought me in as like the Petoskey area contingent, helping with a couple of local bands be a part of it, but also just the going sounds of the area. And even what the place is like. So I was privy to like scoping out the park, making sure that we've got all our electrical where that's going to be, how it's all kind of going to run. And I'm just excited because I think it'll even grow, John, from like the past years with the nature of it being this annual thing and kind of building, but also versus the Straits. Mackinac sometimes is kind of like it's not Mackinac Island, but it's kind of out on an island. It's a little tough sometimes for people to, as far as a destination to go, but Petoskey is more accessible. But yeah, trying to really integrate with like all these existing businesses and community members in town to just bring Petoskey and Harbor and everywhere around itself sort of involved and aware of the fest. Yeah, so that's basically all I have.
It's kind of an empty date around here. People have always said, why don't you do something on Labor Day weekend? So, oh, Jennifer, I was just looking to see if you texted again. Sorry.
No idea what you're talking about.
Okay, very much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So let us know about the event and
Yeah.
wish you some success and luck with it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and if I am able to talk to them a bit, a few more organization members and in this fundraising portion of it, I'm not sure exactly who I could reach out to, maybe Shane, as far as just viewers, and maybe once we also have a like a concrete budget in mind, if there is any monetary help in different ways, or if you guys have ideas for anything else that the DMB
Well, the
would like
management
to
board
use us.
did fund Festival on the Bay some to a degree for several years, as long as it was there. You're not in our budget for this year. It would have to be a board decision, but
Yeah, and we continue to think about in future years and also it being like, hopefully, really solid with Petoskey. That could be something down the line,
That-
so we're also
it
looking
benefits
to
downtown.
the next year too. Yeah. But yeah, hope you guys
Also,
all.
want to stay in mind, it's Labor Day weekend, that Saturday of Labor Day.
Right.
weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Thank
I
you
think we
guys.
like that.
Thank you.
I'm going red now.
All right, so next on our agenda is new business. Consider approval of pop-up event application as requested by Beard's Brewery. So for this one, I will leave the dais and I'll go sit in the audience because there's a direct conflict of interest. Puts up a slight conundrum because normally we have Robin as our vice chair, but with Robin gone, somebody will need to take charge of leading the board for the next 10 minutes.
I nominate Drew.
That was very fast. Thank you for accepting.
The same deflecting. Really, I noticed on your red, your hand.
Slide. When I take it out of your. So, are you?
We would now like to welcome Ben Slocum. So that he can share the plan that Beards is putting forward for this upcoming year on a pop-up event. Welcome, Ben.
Thank you very much, Drew. This microphone's getting more of a workout than we normally do. So as you can see in the packet, we did the first. We proposed an event last year using some of the new mechanisms we had in place and some of our old mechanisms, the closing streets for sidewalk sales and other special events, as well as the new social district to try something new last year. We went for a big event since it was our 10-year downtown. We took feedback in the community, most of it positive. Some of it was constructive criticism, Jen's in particular, about the difference with the inside event versus outside event. So what we're proposing this year is, it's 11 years for us, so we'd like to do something, but it's not as big as the 10 years. So it's a little bit more scaled back. It's more family fun type stuff in the outside. Our hope is to be able to get the stage essentially same location as last year, get some more musicians out there. Do some fun and games, craft stations, like last year, no commercial activity in the street, everything commercial would take place on our property, and then everything outside would just be free for people to participate in. We're talking games, kind of like a block party type idea, games, tie-dyeing, and then just, trying to pull in some community partners from some nonprofits and just kind of show off what they do. So everything should be right out in the packet if you have any questions.
Drew, I could just follow up a little bit to that. You did put this in your budget. You were thinking you might get 2 of these this year. We thought Ben or Beards might reapply. And there were 2 or 3 other people in town who said they would like to do it. When it came down to it, we made sure that we talked to each one of them and that they were aware of it and knew to reach out. And they decided not to for various reasons, but it doesn't mean that this isn't a good idea and that it couldn't be done in future years. But you had 10,000 in the budget for these 2 pop-ups. And I think this one is saying that we would fund up to $1,500 for Beards to match their grant is in here. We would fund up to $1,500 to go up to $3,000. And then we still have quite a bit of money in that line item. So the other things that we could do that day, we could hire that same Great Lakes Jazz Band, which I just love. And I haven't had that much positive feedback about anything I've done in all these years. Oh my God, get them back. They just, but there also is scheduled that night, the Friday night before, a Bliss Fest through us, concert in the park. And there would be a movie in the park that night. So this all kinds of packages together to make a summer send-off event with their theme of community through craft through community. And maybe we could add a retail component as well. Just so that, not maybe, we should add a retail component as well, so that it's not a street closure event, except for in front of Beards.
I'd like to ask a question. I believe that there was $20,000.
Is it 20 or is it 10? I think
the 2023 budget contains $20,000 to support events that are proposed by merchants. So we're proposing to spend $1,500,
right?
But then the rest of it, someone else could come up with something, or several people could come up with different things.
We had a deadline that
Right.
what, and you could change that. We could announce that this is the one pop-up event, but the DMB is open to other things that want to happen that day. If, give us another 30 days. If we don't have it from people in another 30 days, I think it's going to be hard to do. But certainly we can put together scavenger hunt types events of things that go with it. But
Well, I just mean like, is that of $20,000?
we could spend more.
We could spend more,
We could spend
or
more.
we could, someone could create another events later or something like that throughout the year. No,
Well,
I understand there was a deadline.
yeah, if you want to leave it open, yes, they could. I know, well, I'll just be, Miko talked about an Oktoberfest. Craig, Stephen Mullins talked about some kind of a formal dinner in Pennsylvania Park. So these all are ideas that were out there, but they did not apply by the deadline, and they knew about the deadline. They just decided for some reason, they weren't going to this year. But if this board wanted to change that deadline, they could a store add something from send off. But if we wanted to put a store, add something, put a store.
Right, could we look at other proposals that we still have? Yeah. Could Charlie's group get some of the leftover money?
I have to think about that. It probably legally it wouldn't fall, because I was thinking about that. I don't know if you hear from my response, but it wouldn't be probably legally able to come out of that line item, but it could come out of we do collaborating events like we do with the chamber, money for I've said a whole lot of stuff. We give we give the chamber money for not Art in the Park. We used to give for Festival on the Bay. We do farmers market now. We do for the service effect. So they're collaborating events that we do and we've approved and put in our budget. And certainly that money could be moved out of this line item and moved in if there's excess and moved into a different line item. It would take a board action and would have to be approved. But yes, that could be done. It's a bookkeeping thing more than anything else.
If there was an anchor downtown business that wanted to participate in Charlie's event, would that be something that could be eligible? I'm just helping Charlie, not Ben, sorry. We'll get back to Ben. Like if an anchor downtown business wanted to participate in this and wanted to submit a proposal to participate in that.
I'm going to say yes, but
Okay.
then we'd have to extend the deadline,
Got it.
which
Okay.
is fine.
Okay. What other board comments do we have for Ben? Sorry.
Ben, this would be my only suggestion as someone who came to the event last year, is that I would love, you had a big sign, I think, that said something, but what I didn't feel the message was conveyed that it was open to everyone.
Okay.
So if we could make sure, since this is a downtown Petoskey event, that we say everyone welcome, free, like maybe listing what the things are and,
Okay.
like games, free, but just really highlighting the fact that it's meant for everybody.
Okay, and I think that's kind of the difficulty we had last year was like the stream about internal marketing versus external.
Correct.
So that's something we'll definitely take into consideration and try to push harder and more. Because I think that's very important. This is supposed to be about us thanking and celebrating the community, and we don't want to turn people off.
Thank you.
I'm going to it was the first time attempt and we didn't have Andy and we do have Andy now. And
We did all that last year, which was, I think it went great in a lot of ways. There were things we could have done better. But I think it was a learning experience for us as a business. I think it was a learning experience for the city and for downtown trying a bunch of new stuff. We didn't apply for much this year because we didn't want to be greedy. We were hoping others would come forward and apply because part of this was putting together a system last year that we could apply for, but also hopefully people in the future. So I was hoping we'd actually have gotten more applications and we'd have to sort through them of what would be the best, most precedent, but what it is.
To that end, would you be able to expand it, you think? Or since you intentionally went smaller, is that something that you think you could see a vision to expand it, or?
We potentially could. I mean, this late in the game, it seems like it's not late in the months out, but I think we all know that summer runs way fast. We might be able to a little bit, but I can't definitely say. outside of this vision. You know, if it goes well this year, then next year we'd probably ask for a little more and keep going. You know, my hope is ultimately that others apply and we can create these types of pop-up events, but you know, it's a mechanism that I think worked well and successfully for us for something. So
Yeah, I mean, I love the concept of the like the celebrating craft type elements to it. And I think that you guys bring a great anchor for that. And I think that there's maybe some opportunity for others to participate in that as well. So it seems like a pretty open-ended opportunity.
I have a big idea for next year, but I don't have enough time to pull it off by this year. So maybe we have another round in the fall that's for money in the spring or something like that.
Well, I would suggest that we do this earlier than we did it this year and pump it up. I mean, we've been short of staffers and we've.
No, right. I mean, that's all.
We were a little late to do it this year, but maybe another successful year, and I can hardly wait to hear your idea though. She's not gonna say.
Any other questions or comments?
Ben, thank you for continuing to bring fun events to downtown.
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, continuing, so we get approved.
I think you need a motion.
Yes, so at this time, I would entertain a motion. In either support or not.
I make a motion.
Support. Oh, sorry.
We approve the top of that as requested by Beard.
Support.
We have a motion and a support. Any further board comments? Nope, then we'll put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Congratulations, Beards Brewing. We're happy to participate in their pop-up event this year.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Ben.
Thanks, as awkward as it is. While moving seems silly, I do think it's good just to set the different expectations and good for public perception. I would also like to say thank you very much, Drew. So I think that was a great test run for you being chair next year.
You did a good job.
So Jen recognizes talent. That's what she does.
Okay.
So next on the agenda is report by downtown management board committees.
Okay, I first should tell you tonight that poor Andy is so disappointed. She was so looking forward to coming, but she is sicker than sick. I mean, she has got. She's, I don't know, and so she's not, I don't even know when she's coming, but she'll be at work tomorrow, but anyway, I do have her notes, and I don't have her personality, but I have her notes, so I will impart to you. So you do have all of the meeting agendas in your packet, but I thought I would just go through a few of the highlights with you because we're going to get a short meeting again this month. Want to talk to you a little bit about the parking committee and their past due process. Just make sure you're all aware that we are working with the city attorney now, and we're going to collect some of this money, and it's looking very, very promising moving forward. So the people that are saying in downtown, well, they don't do anything anyway, they're going to find out that we do something. We're not going to allow a segment of the public to park for free and just rack up tickets and not pay. So that isn't fair to anyone.
Yeah.
You have any idea how much we have in arrears?
It's a lot. It could be $100,000.
I think that's just the top offenders.
No, there are some top offenders.
I think it was
that
like
go-
15 people
Yeah.
total that, and then there's a lot of others.
And we're
What's the
working,
biggest one?
$40,000 is the biggest one.
40.
40.
40,000.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of background on that. The collection agency has not been able to collect anything. He has never paid a single ticket. All of his fees, Parks Downtown gets a ticket a day, plus he owes to public safety, not nearly as much, but for winter parking. So we didn't have an avenue to collect from him. So, but Shane has paid attention to this, and with getting the city attorney involved, they are now paying attention to this, and they are saying that something can be done. So that's the first case we're working on.
Okay.
And then there's no one close to him, but there are some others that. So, and I'm even just gonna say, if you're not on the parking committee, this fellow has said around town, you don't have to pay those tickets, nobody's gonna bother you, you're not gonna. That's the real damage, because some people have believed him and they haven't paid, and now they're gonna,
Can I throw a comment in?
you may.
Yeah, so I think one of the major issues isn't one person absconding is one person doing it, but the issue is, as Becky said, he keeps talking and keeps telling people. So new young downtown employees, downtown residents think they can do whatever the heck they want. And it just keeps growing and growing and growing, and it becomes problematic. And while I think we are all annoyed with parking tickets when we get them, and we all wish parking was free, the reality is we have to manage a finite resource. Otherwise, every in-demand parking spot is going to be taken up by people working in businesses, and it's not going to be friendly to our guests coming in, or to people who need parking for, whatever mobility issues they may have. So when one person is so vocal, and it's not even just one, I mean, there's dozens so vocal saying they don't do anything about it, it just snowballs. And then we start getting more people involved in the issue, and it grows and grows and grows.
What about Moody?
Well, but the city attorney did not advise that.
Because it doesn't look great.
No, because he feels there's liability if someone's purse is in the car and we boot the car and then the purse isn't there, that it could go back on us, on the city, which I have not found information to support that. If you have a company boot your cars for you, they're the ones who hold that liability.
I watch parking wars and they boot everybody.
I know.
It seems that, how do they get away with it?
I actually have had consultants tell me that's where you should go from here, but that's what the advice we got from the attorney. So we're taking the attorney's advice and we're going through the court, and this fellow will be making a payment plan, and we're going through that at this point to try this. If he fails, then he will go to court, and we'll have to hold him liable that way.
I know that if I saw a car booted, I would make darn sure that I didn't want my car booted.
Well, that's what this board has said, and the parking committee has said for years and years. All you have to do is once, maybe twice,
Yeah.
and they see it, and they'll never do it.
I offered a personal vehicle to sit out there at the boot if we just want to do that.
Yeah,
for a
just
little bit.
stage it.
I'll just stage my pickup out there.
And lose the key.
The way I left it, or the way Matt and I discussed, we're gonna do a parallel process where we're going to work with the court system to try to achieve some payments on past due accounts, but we're also going to look at an amended ordinance that'll come before council to allow us to boot, because right now it's not. It doesn't mention that in our ordinance, so we want to add that in case we want to take that approach.
That was left out when we raised the parking meter rates.
Council did not want to go there, and I think that the city attorney remembers that and feels.
I don't think it never came to council.
You said you would do it if it was necessary. I remember that.
But it never got, I think booting never got discussed.
It was part of that plan, that big, all those points in that.
There was 17 of them, and it was and it was 2 or 3 years prior to the raising of the meter.
Well, we'll have to dig that plan out.
I think what we need, I trust Ian to give us some good directions, and
I was pleased that we could get the attorney involved.
one of the problems is that if the court collects the money, you don't get the money.
Well, that's what's happened in the past, right?
The other-
Right. That's
Can
what's
the
happening.
judge actually rule that it would come a payment plan to us, that payment plan going to the courts?
The attorney is aware of this particular individual's payment plan is going to go to the attorney, and then it will come to the parking fund.
Okay,
But when we've taken it to court before, so we're settling before we're going to court, when we've taken it to court before, that's been the problem. But the attorney is aware of that, and he says that we have to work through that, and that should not happen. So, and he will see that it does.
When collected by the court, then goes to the library and to the jail, or there's 2-3 entities that get the money from the court for that.
And I think a lot of it then, we never had anything this big, but I think then the remainder might have gone to public safety and it never got up the street to the DMB, which is just an accounting thing, but that this was years ago when all those troubles started, years and years ago. Just going quickly here, unless there are more questions on that. We had another revisit of business wanting to create a loading zone in front of their business or on the side of their business, near their business. The parking committee, you all need to know if this comes out in the, you hear your fellow business owners talking about this, we just can't open up that door. You know, what everyone would want one, and it just can't happen. So it's just, the precedent is just too dangerous of a one to set.
Excuse me,
Yes,
haven't we already said it though with 15-minute?
we have,
Spaces
they were not set by request for a certain business.
Correct.
They were done with the streetscape years ago, and the parking committee has talked actually about getting rid of those because of the difficulty of enforcing them. People come out and you just keep pushing the button. We only have 2 of those left, one by the chamber and one next to the commercial parking space, the commercial loading zone in the, I think that's all we have right now, or 2 in the park garden lot. And enforcing them is a problem. You know, people will punch the button and then you have to stand there and watch.
Generally on Howard, that doesn't happen.
You don't think so?
No. It's
Well, you're
constantly, I mean, it's constant, we're always taking customers stuff out to their car, not only there, but other places. But I mean, as I see it, and I see it every day, there's a constant turnover there. I mean, there may be a time when there's like, to it, like someone's in the bank and it's taking them longer and they come out and do it, whatever. I mean, I've done it. But as far as sitting there all day or even for hours, stretches of hours, I've not seen it. So.
Well, that's good.
And I guess
Your store is right there, so you would.
Yeah. I understand, like, I think we all understood and feel their pain, but at the same time, I mean, they keep coming back
Mhm.
and asking, and isn't there not in front right on Mitchell, but around the corner on Petoskey? Is that something that we could do?
It's private use of the public right of way, what it turns out to be. And then Flowers from Sky's the Limit want to do it, because they do. Petoskey Plastics would want to do it. I mean,
Every restaurant in town.
Yeah.
Uber Eats is now making it so convenient for anyone to be a delivery business now. When you open that door for a particular candidate, you have to entertain the idea of allowing it for anyone else that could feel a compelling argument for it too.
Well, and you bring up Uber Eats and DoorDash as an example, but reality is now there's also shipped, shopped,
Yeah.
Uber packages, so it can be for anybody and everything. It'd be nice if we could, but it's hard to police. It's hard to make sure it's being used appropriately. We can't signify it to individuals working for these third-party contractors and vendors who would just use them as private parking whenever they're downtown.
Shane, could you just kind of go over what the hardships were that they related to you?
Yeah, it was mainly they were delivery drivers going in to get orders and meeting that time, meeting that 15-minute window. And even they were mentioning customers that were running in to get, their food and were coming out to a ticketed vehicle. So I think we tried to steer them back to the grain train lot. They do have a couple permitted spaces in there. I'm just being told that it's just too far away. They would like that hatched area on Petoskey potentially for their use, but public safety is not comfortable from a sightline standpoint, giving up that hatched area, no parking area on Petoskey. So it's mostly, and she wanted it in front of her business with that thought being from her standpoint that she could police any abuse, people misusing it. But
Are they gonna stand out there and like check people who are like shopping somewhere else?
Yeah, that's
And
the,
that doesn't make sense.
yeah, so.
Okay,
Another
Thank you.
thing, Gary, is every time you make a special use out of a parking space, even a handicap space, you rule that, you take that out of the inventory. It can only be used
No,
for
I agree with
handicap
that,
people.
yeah.
You can only use it for 15-minute loading. So a lot of times it will not be used. So you got to keep that in mind too, when you think of the greater public good. Real quickly, the employees had asked for body cams and we are going to look into this. And I want you all to know the reason they want these is because they feel like if they have a camera that shows that people will be less likely to be belligerent or obnoxious with them because they will know that it could come back. They're not trying to trick anyone or catch anyone on anything, but they have a lot of good people and they feel like it will maybe eliminate some of that if it shows that they're recording. So we're looking into that. We talked about the trolley at the parking committee meeting because the mission of the trolley is to bring people to downtown, give them a place, get them here, and they don't need a parking space. And we used to have a little separate trolley committee, but you know we're running out of people to put on committees. I guess I'll put it that way. But I do have 4 drivers hired. We can run that. We have enough people to run the trolley from Tuesday to Sunday, with Monday as a day off, 10 hours a day, 10 or 12 hours a day, 10 to 10. And we can even, some of these guys can work into the September and October when we have a lot of people asking for the trolley. Now, are these people that just want to go for a ride on the trolley because they're the cultural heritage traveler? You know, the older people, but maybe we could try it this year and see if it's beneficial to downtown. And then I reported to the parking committee that I thought I was feeling good about part-time parking ambassadors for the summer, and that went away. I had one person that I had hired. She was supposed to come in yesterday to fill the paperwork. We'd done a phone interview. We could meet face to face. Loved her, thought she was great. She decided she didn't want to do it. Called me yesterday. So sorry, but she doesn't want to do it. And then another one that I had said that I was interviewing that did not show up again. So I have 2 more, and then I'm out of people on my list. So I hope these 2, because I'm looking for 2, a permanent part-time person and a summer part-time person. And I'll know by the end of the week how these turn out. The organization task force met, and you have those notes as well. The committee did agree on the recommendation I made for a space for Andy. We did spend a lot more time looking at comps. I had Larry Roshan help us with that. Problem with this space is we can't get in until the 1st of July. Andy is still working at the workspace, the co-op workspace, and it's fine. We did negotiate this price because it had been high. Through a rent reduction, we achieved that by offering the owner an annual sum. We're going to pay the first year's rent upfront because we're not a business. We have the money in our cash flow right now, and that's advantageous to them. We're working on the lease right now. Haven't signed it yet, but expect to. A couple of details about there's some things that the property owner has in there, when they can get them out and how fast we can make that happen. But July 1st is when it's available. Honestly, I see nothing else around, nothing at all. And I thought somebody might stand up and say, well, but no. So I think that's where we're going to go. And I guess there's no problem in sharing with you. This is the 2nd story over Chalbella, and it's this lovely space, and we got it for a good amount. So then just to keep the rest of it simple, of what we're going to do as we go ahead with these job descriptions is the next person to be hired is a chief parking ambassador. And I'm working on that description. I'm going to take as much responsibility off of this person and put it onto that person for the new hire as I possibly can. And then when we write the job description for the new executive director, and we'll call it an executive director, not a director, it will add other things that we haven't been able to get to. And those things would be economic development activities and grant writing that there's just never been any time because this person's been so involved in parking. And I suppose as you all talked and I did have a conversation with Shane about this, maybe there's a room for development so that this person does work for the city as well and could be co-funded in some ways as you go forward. It's a lot to think of in the next few months, so, but we do need to move ahead. So Andy has been working diligently. She did a great job getting sponsors for movies in the park. Reached out and got Murdoch's, Bear Cub, Great Lakes Orthodontics, Grandpa Shorter's gifts, Wolverine Cabinet Company, amazing music house. Yeah. And Myra Ace Hardware, who have never done it. It's still not enough to pay for the whole series. But I just had to make a call because we had to put it in the shopping map. Number one, if you can do it, you got to promote it. And I think we can scratch up a few more and we'll be able to, certainly we'll have money left over that we can move out of the pop-up event line and do maybe help fund this with it.
How many more do you need?
If we had two more, we could fund all the movies. If we had 3 more, we'd be able to pay somebody to show them, which is something we thought we were going to get the intern from Parks and Rec, but he didn't get an intern this year. So that's out. So now we're having to look at that as well. So let us know. She said that the shopping map has been, we did all the updates. We sent it off to Mitchell Graphics. We got it there on time. We should get it out as far as getting it out to everyone before Memorial Day. Maybe not all of the ones that we're going to use all year long, but at least we'll get it to the hotels and we'll get it to the businesses before Memorial Day weekend. Just thought of something else. I don't want to forget. We're also working with Blissfest to get this. You have $10,000 in the budget for this summer to give to them for them to run a summer concert series. And they've picked some bands and we have not finalized everything. We were supposed to meet on Tuesday and their person was sick on Tuesday. So we couldn't meet it was Monday, yesterday. So we couldn't have that meeting, but she says she thinks she has the lineup nearly completed. So we're excited to have that happen as well. Now, the events committee has not met because I was just doing events, not having time to meet with the committee. Andy has not gotten them back together yet, but the goal is that we need to get that committee functional probably this month so that they can talk about primarily the event schedule for 2024. So that can go in the budget when we start working on that in August. And that would be one of the first things I would want to see them get involved in as we take the events to a different level, which if it's higher, lower, or the same, whatever it is. So we will be working on doing that for this coming month. I have gotten some phone calls about summer open house that have surprised me. Oh, you're not going to do it? And it just never got the legs, we always like that, so maybe we need to relook at that again. I don't know, but
Who was that?
oh, Val Myerson called me today. She said she's been having questions, but I got somebody downstate the other day and I might have had 4 of those calls, oh, really? That kind of thing. So I don't know.
No.
Well, we're not going to do it this year, but maybe what we want to think of in the future, but that will be a board decision. So
I'm just telling you to release the guilt.
thank you. So, in other things, I know you've all seen the entrance to Mitchell Street from 31. It just chokes me up. It looks so beautiful.
How many years was that in?
I don't know, but welcome, Shane.
It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
You're accomplishing big things.
It's fucking beautiful.
It's just, and the sign looks so good. I love seeing that sign.
It looks good.
And the sign doesn't even have the lights on it yet. Oh, it's just so exciting.
Lights.
Just goosenecks like the other one down there.
Yeah, just FYI, they will have to take the sign down temporarily. I thought they could install the lights in the field, but they cannot. So you'll see a very short window, probably a day, that the sign will be down, but it will be obviously back up.
Well, we'll live with that as long as it doesn't.
We won't panic then.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't get into those clock hands,
What hand?
the clock hands. I had my daughter and granddaughter here when they were taking those down last year, and we couldn't even stand there because the mites, the fish flies were so bad, and she wanted to look at and it's been a whole year because they're back, the bugs are back. It's bug time. Okay, quickly on other things, the big economic development news is, if you haven't heard, Rugport building is being occupied. Mettlers is opening a second location in there. And you know what a fine establishment they are, and it's going to focus more on, they'll have clothing in there as well, but it's going to be called Mettlers American Home. But they have a line of home furnishings that they have in Gardner White stores that are in the Detroit metro area, and they're going to move more furniture in there. So great thing for downtown, for Petoskey, fits our image. Just really grateful to have that spot filled up as well. So in the future, I know they're getting in quickly right now, but that'd be a great place for a facade grant, great place for just spruce up the outside of that building. And I'm very excited for them, and excited that they want to be here. Lou has really made a commitment, and I appreciate that. We have a service effect with the Chamber of Commerce seminar coming up on June 12th. It will be early in the morning. We're going to start promoting that any day now, actually, as soon as I can get Andy feeling better. And this service effect is hospitality training or frontline customer service training more. It started out hospitality training. It's gone more to frontline customer service training in the past, but this is free to all downtown employees because we partner with the chamber, and it's a collaborative event. So because of our sponsorship of it, you can send as many employees as you want free, and they get a sticky bun and a cup of coffee and training.
I'm sending 4 people tomorrow, and then I'll be sending more in June, but I was wondering if we were going to send all the parking ambassadors for that.
They have been every year, but I understand how it looks, and I'm pushing for that. Yes.
Thank you.
Pam actually will be at the one tomorrow because of she works at, I don't know if you know this, she works nights at Holiday Inn. So she worked all day today. She's going to work all night, then she'll be at that tomorrow, and she'll work. She's a worker. The work has begun on the interior at JCPenney. You're going to see, I sent this note out. You probably all saw what I put on the Facebook page, but you're going to see the catwalk going around on Mitchell Street and on the covered sidewalk on Howard. The plans that I saw last fall call for 2-story high-end townhomes on the top with it steps back on the roof of Penny's, and it first story of the townhouse, and then it steps back again. So they have decks and they have beautiful views. We'll bring some very nice people with money to spend to live in downtown. Good for everyone. It's an 18-month project. So we're going to look at we're going to be grateful that they're doing it. We're going to look at all it's bringing us, and we're going to be as positive about it as we can. So
What the downstairs of that, it's going to be retail space?
the first floor,
And how many spaces are planned to be in there?
when I talked to him last fall, he told me that it would be Nicolay Bank, which is across the street from you, in a temporary spot, and they would be moving into the corner of the location, and that the surrounding in the back of the bank would be parking for the upstairs condos and for people in the bank if there was enough. And he was going to use that Ferris wheel concept of moving the cars around in there. So I have not seen a plan since last, it was late September last year.
So it's another bank.
Yes. That's what it was when I talked to him. I mean, I sat across the table from him and he told me it was Nicolay Bank. And he did not tell me to keep it secret, so. We're becoming the Wall Street of Northern Michigan.
There's not another one coming in, right? It's like somebody
Right.
coming from a different
Right,
location.
that's true.
So it's kind of at neutral.
Yeah, but where's Honor Bank?
Outer Bank can't find a location. He's looking hard.
Nicolay Bank's about to move to a new location, maybe that'll open up.
We'll just move into the other one jumps out of.
I mean, think of that as a good thing. Doug Buck is on our bank and he really wants to be in downtown. He's trying very hard. We don't have a spot for them. We're full. Regardless if we have vacancies, we're full. So,
I think that's the point of the stuff we always
yeah, come back.
forget. People say there's a lot of openings downtown. The reality is rentable openings don't really exist.
So, two more things. Flower planting day was to be May 26th. We found out today that the flowers are not going to be here on time. And we're punting right now because St. Francis School has said they can't do it in June. Initially, they told me that. So maybe they'll come back and say, well, if we really have to, but they had told me they would not be able to do it.
But the flowers aren't gonna be here by the 25th.
Not the flowers for the tree wells. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's
but
maybe a flower.
I don't know about those flowers. I don't know. I just know that the ones that the St. Francis students plant will not be here by the planting, their planting day was the 26th, and they will not be here. And St. Francis had told me earlier they wouldn't be able to do it any later than that. We like it later than that because I don't know if you noticed, but the bulbs in front of my office got frostbitten on Sunday night. Had it been Monday night, I'd have covered them, but I didn't think of it on Sunday night, you know? Yeah, so
Today to cover your flowers tonight.
yeah, mine are already done, so. And we found, John and I have found in the last few years, the later we plant them, the better they do. So, but I don't know who we're gonna get to plant them, but we'll work it out. We're not gonna go without.
One option to consider would be, we have a list of folks that are delinquent. Maybe we have put some sweat equity and had them earn some of that.
They can work off.
Well, it's my understanding that St. Francis has done this for maybe longer than I've been here, 12, 15, maybe for forever. This would be the first time they would miss, but it's possible, I guess you should just deliver them. Don't scream at me, but to the merchants, and if you have a tree well in front of you, gotta plant it. I mean,
Well, that's what we used to do.
Correct.
I don't, it doesn't seem like this is that long ago. It's been at least shovel down in the basement,
What about the garden club?
but I don't want to do it.
I don't know anything about that. I don't know what
I don't want
that,
any part of it.
ask them.
The same place.
I don't know. Maybe we could ask them. I don't know.
We have a few individuals that are coming to plan on May 25th, Pennsylvania Park. We did it last year, we'll be doing it again this year. But
By the War Memorial, that area?
yeah, I got a hold of John.
Well, John he texted me about 4 o'clock today and said, guess what? And he forwarded me the message that the flower people had said they could not get him here.
Okay.
Okay, so that's just out there. And then truthfully, I have not done this, but I'm going to do it first thing in the morning, and Drew tells me that the room is open. We need to schedule a wake up downtown, and the day I'm looking at is May 29th. Drew says it's open, but it's Angie that. Yeah. So, and we'll start pushing that right away. I was a little asleep at the wheel on that one, but we have time to get that out there. Everybody likes to wake up downtown, so, and that's all I have. So you have questions?
Oh, I have a question, Mr. Chairperson. Thank you. How's the dumpster situation?
Well, the signage, I haven't walked down there this week, but I haven't had any complaints. Gary, you would know more, but the signage did go up on the inside. That is a little more the threatening signage, the real strong. And there is a plaque ordered for the outside that just simply says private for use of, I think, for use of businesses of this list of addresses, and it just gives the addresses that way it doesn't say a specific business because you know it'll last forever. So, and that will go on the outside door, but that should be coming quite soon. What do you think, Gary? I don't know.
So far, I mean, I've seen some things back there. I haven't been policing it, as it were. So when I go out, I'm going through the door. The door has a latch problem. It's just hard. It's difficult. And I think, and one of the boards, I think it might be a little bad.
So what are you thinking that
Maybe broken, maybe need to look at, maybe needed looking at. It's just crowded. There's a lot of totes in there. There's like 6, and I think there's 7, one right smack of that. So, I mean, I'm not complaining, I'm just saying it's crowded. But I don't see a lot of dumping of things that haven't been removed.
Okay,
That's a
okay.
good- It's a good thing, it's a
Yeah.
positive thing.
Well, I think the sign, I can't quote what the sign that's on the interior says right now, but it's red and white and it's very firm. No cardboard, no loose cardboard, no, I mean, it's
Okay.
very clear and very
Great.
firm.
Thanks for asking.
I guess I was unaware of this. Where is it and who gets to use it?
You know, I don't care. I mean, I'll tell you about it. It's that fenced-in area behind the chamber building that the DMB paid half to have constructed and the city paid half to have constructed. And it's intended for the businesses that back up along the park. And Gary would be one, the deli would be one, anything that, goes along there. But a lot of times we had even people come to the meeting that complained that others were dumping there, and even people who were allowed to use it were dumping there, and they just put their cardboard back there and expected it to maybe compost and go away. I don't know,
Sure.
just, So we made a process to get it cleaned up and make sure it's monitored, so. Sorry.
Well, thank you very much, Becky. I think next on our agenda then is reports by city staff.
You want to do it this time? I did it last time, it's your turn.
So a lot of good stuff happening in and around the city. Let's see, days are running together. Yesterday, the mayor, myself and council member Demore attended a large check presentation, which is always fun to do. So the city received $150,000 from the Great Lakes Sports Commission for the Winter Sports Park Pavilion project. So we are up to about $850,000 of our 1.1-ish goal. So we're making good progress there. So we certainly appreciate Senator DeMoose, who really fought very hard for us with the Great Lakes Sports Commission to realize this award. So we certainly thank him for that. You may have noticed the clock tower is functioning. So we're pleased to have that back. And if you, right on cue. So we're pleased to have that iconic symbol back with us. And all of it's been updated to LED technology. So we hope that this will last. All aluminum based containers instead of metal. So those should last for many, many years. Also doing a project down at the marina with a gas tank replacement project. This will allow us to store much more volume from a gas standpoint and serve all of our boating community. So that project's progressing as well. We're doing our retaining wall this week. And next week we should be able to receive gas and diesel to be able to facilitate that before the holiday weekend. Planning Commission meets tomorrow night, so the third evening meeting in 3 days, so that's exciting. So on their agenda tomorrow night is the Lofts project. They wanted to have a relook at the Lofts project exterior, maybe a softened version to make sure that it blends in with the old Emmett neighborhood a little bit better. So I think the developer and architect did a nice job listening to the feedback from the Planning Commission. So that's on for their consideration tomorrow night, as well as additional review of the short-term rental ordinance that they have been working through. Becky mentioned the JCPenney project. We had pre-construction meeting. That is work is ongoing, interior. So we're excited about seeing that project moving forward. We did have a pre-construction meeting with Elder Piper Beer and Cider. This is 923 Baxter Street. Really a neat location. If you can imagine the Greenway extension through that area and just the busyness of the Lost Project being complete, and that another opportunity for a community gathering space, really unique concept that they're working through. So that we had a pre-construction meeting with the owners Monday for that project. So we're excited to be able to partner with them to see that materialize as well. City Council last night also adopted a new start time. So we are officially moving from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. On a 3-2 vote. So we are going to try this and see how we do. The mayor was put this on the agenda. I tried it one time as a staff and was essentially told no thank you. So I stepped away, and the mayor took the mantle on from there and got it through. So May 23rd and May 30th will start our first cycle of rubbish collection around the city. So that'll be west of Howard, will happen on the 23rd and the 30th. And then east of Howard Street will be May 24th and May 31st. So I would encourage folks to check out our website for items that are appropriate to set out at the curb and items that may not be appropriate, and certainly encourage folks to recycle items that can be recycled for sure. So that's kind of my comments. Mayor, do you have anything to add?
Not really. You gave the best summary of it all, but I don't think there was much more. Going back a month, even 2 weeks earlier, there really isn't. May 1st, Michigan Meeting.
Yeah, we're working through a lot of variables for that one. A lot of things still need to fall in place, from state grants, from local incentives, brownfield. That site is much more contaminated than I think any of us really thought it was. And so that's kind of increased awareness, certainly has increased cost. So I think the developer anyway is going through an analysis to determine the viability of that. And we'll just have to see how that goes going forward. So that certainly is, that needs a lot of assistance, state, local. It's certainly a public-private partnership for that one for sure. So we'll kind of see how that materializes. City Park Grill, we're in the public comment phase. So we've gone through our environmental, we've gone through our state historic preservation office review. So right now it's in the hands of any interested parties to comment on the project, because this is federal and state dollars that are going to be going to that project. So this will be 5 workforce affordable units that'll be going above City Park Grill. So once that period expires, which will be, I think June 2nd is the last date of public comment or feedback, then the state will release the funds, and the city will be acting as kind of the fiduciary, where contractor will submit funds to the city or invoices to the city. We will pay those invoices and then be reimbursed through the state. So we'll kind of be that flow through, if you will. So we're excited to see that project materialize as well.
One thing would be May 1st, note that the ward and city conventions normally at the first week after the 4th of July, or the second week after the 4th, like the 8th of July. Those have been moved to June. And the dates are Monday, June 19th for the ward convention. I know you all live in town, so you're interested on that. And then the city convention is on the 21st, that Wednesday. It will be held here in this building for the first time ever. So if you go on the city website, I think then you'll see. I don't think you have it up yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
The four sites are, will remain the same, like Ottawa School. For Ward 2 here.
No, I'm still learning the city. Sheridan is Ward 4, 3.
Yeah, Sheridan is 3. Here is Ward 2. Ward 2 is Ottawa, Ward 4 is.
Other side of the river.
Yeah. That's the only. That's the
Fourth ward is Lincoln School.
There we go.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate the school allowing us to use their facilities. That's a great partnership that we have. We just decided to have the city convention here. We did set up the room. I think we can manage the size. We'll save a little bit of money keeping it here, and people are used to coming here anyway for meetings. So it should work well.
Start at 8 o'clock. It's not that we wanted to move it, you can't because it's by charter that it is 8 o'clock. So we have to take a charter review and a city vote basically of citizens to move it. So it is 8 o'clock on that Monday and then Wednesday.
Would you have that YouTube?
It will be here, the convention will be, but not the city convention will be, but not the ward conventions.
But the city convention.
Mhm.
Are you going to YouTube? Well,
Yeah, why not?
something we've never done. But I must say, this is the first city manager. And it has felt comfortable enough to come to the city convention. He came last year and it was really good for citizens to meet and talk with him as well. So hats off to you, Shane, for being.
Yeah, last year I was like brand new. This year I might wear one of public safety's vests.
He's also answered for 2 days.
That's right. And a body cam.
He's got to try out his body cam for the people get.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane.
Thank you very much, Mr. Horn. With that, I think I'm gonna go ahead and adjourn the meeting. That's the last agenda item we got. So thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.
You may hear. Nice.
First day of work today.
Yeah. 4:30.